Hello and welcome to That's Interesting. I'm your host, Frank Hart. This show explores things that I find interesting. I hope that you find them interesting too. My guest on this episode is my brother, Don Hart, of the Hart Speech Foundation. This is the first of several episodes about the Hart Speech Foundation. In this episode, we will talk about the history of the Speech Foundation and current and future efforts. Well, hello, Don, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, and thank you for having me be here on your inaugural show.
Oh,
I appreciate it.
Yes, folks, this is the first one. So we'd like to start off with discussion of the history. How did it come about that you started the Hart Speech Foundation? How long has it been in existence? Things like that. So
Sure. So in 2011, I decided to start the foundation. The reason that I do this is I had a family member who was a severe stutterer. And it took us years to finally figure out what we could do to help her. Problem is when you have a child that stutters, you don't know where to turn. You don't know who to go to for help. So you count on your pediatrician or maybe the schools to give you some guidance. But that's not always the case. And so in our case, what happened was we had a team meeting, and one of the clinicians came up and said to us after the meeting, "We can't help your child. You're going to have to go for special therapy, intensive speech therapy." So we found a program. We went into the program. And the program was a 3-week program, 5 days a week, and homework on the weekends. It was an exhausting program for our child, but it was very effective. And when they came out of that program, they were able to speak pretty fluently. So what happens is, after the 3 weeks, the child has to get up and give a speech. Now, this is a child who goes in, and most of the kids that are in these programs, they can't complete 2 sentences without stuttering. But at the end of the 3-week program, they stand up in front of an audience of people that they don't know, and they give a 10 or 12-minute speech, and they don't stutter once. So it's a pretty phenomenal thing. The issue with these programs is because it's intensive speech therapy, insurance doesn't cover it. So not everybody can afford it. We were fortunate that we got the school district to pay for it by providing a lot of advocacy for our child. So, back in, like I said, in 2011, I was sitting in my office thinking, I'd like to give something back to the stuttering community, and what could we do? And one of the things that we talked about doing was setting up a foundation to raise money so that we could provide scholarships to these intensive speech therapy programs. And so what we do is we pay, depending on need. If somebody comes in and they have no money, we'll provide funding for the entire program. If they have some funds, or maybe insurance will cover a little bit or something like that, then we'll help out whoever we need to. But it's our objective to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to achieve more fluent speech.
Good presentation on that. Next topic we wanted to cover was what are your goals for the foundation? How many people do you do a year, and how many applications do you get? Things like that.
Oh, sure, absolutely. So the goals for the foundation are many-fold. It's not just the program that we support. We support several different programs, not the one that I just described. But we also work, last year I sent out brochures describing stuttering and what pediatricians can do to help identify long-term stuttering. So the interesting thing about stuttering is most children start to stutter between 3 and 5 years old. And 80% of their stuttering will resolve on its own without any intervention whatsoever. It's the 20% that don't resolve that we're trying to reach out to help them. So with respect to your initial question regarding the program that I just described, in the past 12 years, we've probably given a little over 60 scholarships. And the scholarships range from between $2,000 and $4,000, because the program costs a little over $4,000. So we've been very fortunate to be able to work with them. During the COVID years, we didn't really do any scholarships at all. It was just fundraising during those years. But the other things we're trying to do, as I indicated before, we're trying to reach out to pediatricians. And I did that through a mailing with a letter describing my experience and how a pediatrician could have helped us, in our journey, a stuttering journey. I'm also this year sending out letters to every public school in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to ensure that they have the knowledge that they need to be able to help severe stutterers to get the help that they need.
Good. It's nice to have it coming from a point of view of somebody that has gone through this experience and can explain it to people so that they can understand what they're getting into and what's going to be involved with it. So I think that's great that you're doing it that way.
I think it helps, right?
Yeah, oh,
because
definitely.
otherwise it's just a theory,
Yeah.
or an abstract theory where you don't really, unless you stutter or you know somebody that stutters, you don't know the impact that it has on their lives. You know, and
Very
many
true.
stutterers have said they'd rather lose an arm than stutter.
Yep.
You can't communicate. Life's really tough.
It's tough when you can't communicate
Right.
and you can't talk, make yourself known, make your thoughts known.
Yeah.
So great effort to be doing this.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. And why don't we move on now? Let's talk about the fundraising efforts that we've had. I know we've had some good times at some of these, and they've all been fun. Big one being the golf tournament, and then there's some other smaller ones that we've done too.
Yeah. So fundraising is really, that's our key function, or one of our key functions. It's critical in order to raise money before you can give it away, right? And so I've been very fortunate with the foundation that my whole family gets involved, and Frank's right. We do a big golf tournament every year. And everybody comes and they help, and it does end up being a lot of fun. So we do that at the Pine Hills, and we started doing it on Columbus Day, which has been really helpful for us because people have the day off. They can come. They don't have to clear their calendars at all to be there. So it's fun. It's a fun day. Usually goes from, well, we start, people are supposed to arrive around 11. They all start arriving around 9:30 because I typically have a couple of elbow grease stations set up with a couple of the different liquor distributors come by, and they serve spirits beforehand, which is really, it's fun. It's a fun day. So that's our big fundraiser, is the golf tournament. We've done some other smaller ones, a couple of beer tastings at Harpoon Brewery. We did a Wellesley Country Club this year. We had a nice dinner dance night there. We've done the Boston Winery in the past, which is just, it's fun to get everybody together to talk about what our cause is and get feedback from them as to what we can do better in the future. All that being said, we were very fortunate in 2019 that a gentleman and his wife, John Graken and Elaine Graken from England, had heard about our program. They had a child that went through the program that I discuss, and he wanted to try to help us out. So he matches all the funds that we bring in. So it makes it really, at the end of the year when I go through and look at all the numbers, it's very nice because I know we really did twice that. So
That's nice, yeah. And it just, something that was really great at the last golf tournament was when one of the people that had gone through your program got up there and spoke. And she just got a standing ovation. It was just amazing what she did.
Yeah, she's a young lady. Her name is Shay Collins, and she's 15 years old. And to be 15 years old and stand up in front of a crowd of 150 people, mostly men, and deliver a speech like that was phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah, it was just amazing.
Yeah. You probably noticed, but there wasn't a dry eye in the house by the time she was done.
No, there wasn't.
Yeah, very special young woman.
Yep. And given that, the program that they go through locally is run by Adriana DeGrande.
That's
She's in Boston?
In Boston.
In Boston.
Yeah.
So we'd like to talk about her and her program a little bit.
Sure.
So how did you meet her? I assume it was through going through this program?
Correct, yeah. So that was back, it's got to be mid-90s, I think we brought her in there. Yeah, probably 97, 98, somewhere in that range for the program. So Adriana is one of these special people that she wants to help everybody. And she does a lot of speech pathology work. But her program specifically is called the Mind and Body Fluency Program. It may have a new name now, but when we went through it, that's what it was called. And what she does is she brings in stutterers of all ages, but she clusters them by age groups. So one group may be, elementary school kids, another may be junior high, high school, and then the final group would be adults. Not as many adults, obviously, as there are more middle schoolers and high schoolers. Seems to be when the kids really become affected by this because they're going to be going off to college. So for the first time in their life, they're not going to have their family around to support them. So the way the program works is people come in to the program and they work with the clinicians. And the first thing Adriana does is she makes a recording of the individual, their speech as it exists at that particular moment. And then she takes them back to ground zero. And so what they do is they take the language and they break it down to multiple second syllables. So, for example, if you were to say, "Hi, my name is Frank," that might be a natural way of speaking. But what she does is she takes them back to 2-second syllables. So it would be, "Hi, my name is," and so on. And so that gets them to a comfort level that they can say these words without stuttering. And then she'll slowly bring them back up to a more natural speech pattern. And then once they've accomplished that, she brings them out into Boston Common, and they walk around with pamphlets. They hand out pamphlets. They do brochures, and they'll also ask questions. So they do surveys as well. And as part of the survey process, it's to get the client to be able to go out and talk to people they don't know. And then from there, they go into stores, and they'll go in and ask questions like, "Do you have this coat in a size 12?" or whatever. And they work through that process, and then they'll start working telephones. And believe it or not, the most difficult thing for a stuttering client to do is speak on the phone, because you're not getting any actual feedback. So you can't tell what people are, if they're hearing you, what they're thinking while you're speaking. So they do the phone calls. And at the end, like I said before, at the end of the program, she has each client get up and give a 10 to 12 minute speech describing not only their history with stuttering, but also what the stuttering program has done and the things they like best about it and that type of thing. It's really, I'll tell you, it's a very emotional day.
Oh, I can believe that. It's just from hearing that young lady speak at the golf tournament.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have met Adriana. She's just an amazing person.
She's my angel here on earth.
Yep. Now, you have another effort going on with a Dr. Tumanova.
Exactly, yeah.
Saying that correctly?
Yep.
And she's at Syracuse University doing research on stuttering. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So a couple years ago, but I'll tell the audience that one of my hot point buttons is that if we could find a way to get to the kids that are stuttering between 3 and 5 years old and get them into a program like Adriana's before they develop all the bad habits that come around stuttering, we can eradicate the stuttering completely at a young age. And what a different life they would have. And in particular, a different pedagogical experience that they would have if they didn't stutter. So I'm always online looking for these types of programs that are dealing with those types of issues. And I happened to pop into Syracuse, and Dr. Tumanova's program is actually working with kids like 4 to 5, 6 years old. And it's all very technically oriented, which I don't completely get. She uses computers and sensors and monitors their heart rate and their eye movements and all those types of things as they're stuttering. But she works with the 4 and 5 and 6-year-old kids, which is really where I'd like to be able to get to the point where we could get kids at that age. So her program, she does that throughout the year at Syracuse, and then she does a summer program with the young children that stutter as well, to work with them to try to resolve their stuttering issues.
Sounds like another great program to be backing.
It is a great program. It's really it's special when you see the type of work that people are doing.
Yeah, it's just so amazing to see the kids when they come out of it and they can actually communicate now and speak and have their words come out as they expect them to, and have people understand them and not be turned off by waiting for the next word to come out of their mouth.
Very
so
true.
It's just very amazing.
Yeah.
The next topic I'd like to discuss with you, and this is the final one, would be, you have any future plans? You doing any more web surfing out there and finding any place else that you might be interested in communicating with, and maybe providing some research money to them? And
Yeah, there's a few things we're trying to do. So in the country, there's only 140 or so people that specialize in stuttering. And in Massachusetts, there's about 10 right now. So we're trying to find ways to provide funding to sponsor people that want to go into stuttering as a specialty. My initial thought was to do it through the colleges, but that's not as easy as I would have thought. So there's a couple different support groups that clinicians go to get the help they need to develop their careers. So we're working with them right now to try to find a scholarship program for experienced clinicians to be able to spend a little more time specializing in stuttering. That's the first piece. I think that's where we're focusing right now. I'm also working with, so I watched Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran's a stutterer. And on his program that they did on Prime, I think it was, or Netflix, one of the two stations, he talked about how he resolved his stuttering by listening to Eminem and learning to sing all the Eminem songs without stuttering. So he memorized all the albums and he could sing all the songs and wouldn't stutter once. So there's been a lot of research done on this, and what that does is it triggers the artistic part of your brain. So rather than using the normal speech part of your brain, which is what's causing the stuttering, and again, this is all from a layman's perspective, but it trains the artistic part of your brain so that that part of the brain takes over when you speak as well. And people that can learn how to do this, they don't stutter. So I'm looking at a couple different programs right now. I'm also working with a fellow out of Nashville trying to find resources through the country music population, I guess, because Mel Tillis was a stutterer as a child and as an adult, but when he sang, he never stuttered. So we're trying to find some way to put funding together through that area to maybe support the types of things that we're looking at doing for music stuttering therapy.
Yeah, it sounds like another good way to go, because there's just been so many people that have stuttered that you don't know who they are because they speak. They've gotten over it themselves or with help, and you just don't know that they were ever stutterers because you never heard them.
Right.
But there's a lot of people out there that are like that.
And the thing you have to remember is, stuttering isn't just when somebody classically stammers or stutters. It's a disfluency, just like any other disfluency. So if somebody says between sentences, that's a type of disfluency.
Yep.
And so a lot of people have disfluencies, but stuttering is the actual stammering and the stuttering. When you get stuck on a word or a particular sound and you can't get it out. And those are the people that we try to work with.
Yep. Yeah. That's good to know, and it's good. I like getting this out to people so that anybody who has kids or knows kids that are stuttering, they can go to the HartSpeechFoundation.org, put in a request, and you'll contact them and work with them to get them through this program if it's the right thing for them to do.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Yep. So if anybody's out there on TV that's hearing this, we're certainly glad to help. And the website is HartSpeech.org.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did I get it wrong?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm just saying it so they'll hear it again.
3 times you have to tell people, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Don. So.
Sure.
We're now at the end of this episode. I want to thank our guest, Don Hart of the Hart Speech Foundation. On the next episode of this series, Don Hart will be here along with speech therapist Adriana DeGrande to talk about her work with children who stutter. And I want to thank everybody for watching this episode and hope you stay interested. Have a good day.